Hey, Mike Nelson here, founder of WholesalingHouses101.com, where we teach individuals like you how to flip houses. Today, I just want to thank you for taking the time out to watch this video. I have a question that a lot of people they've been having issues with, and they want to know the answer to it. That question is, should individuals deal with finding a deal first, or should they work on finding buyers and then finding a deal? Now, I like to look at that as the shopping approach compared to the deep discount approach. Now, let me explain exactly what that is. So, the shopping approach is where you go to the mall, all right? You're going to the mall and you're just shopping. You don't have anything in mind. You just know that and look at it like this. You're buying Christmas gifts for your family. You're shopping, you know what they want. You're going and you're grabbing it and you're putting it in a bag because you know that ultimately that's what they would like. Well, the other approach is the deep discount approach. Now, take this for example. In the mall, you see something that's on sale for 10%, or it's 10% off. You pick it up and you buy it, okay? You don't necessarily have a need for it, but you go out there and you buy it. That analogy may not go hand in hand directly on what I'm getting ready to talk about. Keep that in mind as I talk about this next topic. So, the shopping approach. And that's where you're going out there. You already have buyers that you're working with, and you know that they are looking for these specific type of properties. So what you're doing, and let me give you an example. So I have a buyer right now in my area where he likes a particular area which is around a college. It's one zip code. If I find anything in that area, then I know that he's going to buy it. That's my shopping approach. I know that if I go and I mail out to that one zip code, and if I find a property, then I know that there's probably about a 98% chance that I have a buyer for it. That approach, it's very good. I like to know that I have a pocket buyer that's going to buy my properties. Now, let me tell you about the other approach. The other approach is the deep discount approach, and this is the approach that most wholesalers go by. Now, this deep discount approach is basically you going out there and you finding a property at a discount, and then you going out there and you know that it's a good deal, so you go and you find you a buyer for it. All right? Now, the two approaches, they're fairly similar. You're dealing with properties, but I'm gonna tell you some of the differences in the two techniques. All right? So, I have the shopping approach. I go and I find a property for a particular buyer. Now, let's take out those two approaches and let's say that I just find a property in a particular area, okay? Now, if I find this property and I get it at a deep discount, then I know that I can go out there and I can find me a buyer for it. Now, if I find this property and I know that someone is willing, they're interested in that particular area, chances are is they may pay more for the property. Okay, so let's bring our two scenarios back into play. Now, the one good thing about the shopping approach is that you're able to get more for the property. Whereas if it was a deep discount, you're going to have to get that property deeply discounted. Now, an example, I know for instance that my buyer around this college, he'll pay around 70 to 80% of market value. Okay? Catch this. Now, if I found a property and using the deep discount approach, well, I'm going to have to get that property below 60% of market value. Now, if I combine the two approaches and I go and I get a property at a deep discount in an area where one of my buyers are interested in that, then what I can do is I can make a large spread on that property because I got it at a deep discount in the area that this individual is interested in, and I can go and I can sell it to him around 80% market value. So that's something to think about, guys. I use a variation of the two techniques, and the reason being is because I like to just, the list that I go after, they cover the whole city. I don't really target a specific area. Now, when I'm working in certain areas and I'm dealing with only my specific buyers, then that's when I use the shopping approach. Now, I do not recommend using the shopping approach if you're fairly new to wholesaling. And the reason being is because what I realized is that when new wholesalers, and I faced this myself when I first started, when new wholesalers work with experienced individuals, there is a possibility that those investors could try to take advantage of you. I've seen it happen with me where an investor tried to go behind my back and pick up a deal in an area where I was shopping for properties for him. So you really want to watch out with that if you're just getting started, and you want to make sure that you have some knowledge of how the wholesaling process and real estate investing process works before you go out there and you shop for properties for particular buyers. But that's my input, guys, on that situation. If hopefully that answered what you should do about that. I prefer to use a variation of the two, but if I was just starting out, I would not recommend using the shopping approach. I'll go right for the deep discount approach. But again, guys, I'm Mike Nelson with Wholesaling Houses 101. Let's go out there and let's flip some